Good afternoon from the KUOW newsroom. This is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning with a roundup of today's top stories. It's Thursday, April 16th. SeaTac Airport made international news today. The Chinese government is warning its citizens to be cautious when traveling to the U.S. and to avoid SeaTac International Airport. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs claims U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents prevented 20 Chinese scholars from entering the country, even though they had valid U.S. visas to attend an academic conference. That's according to Reuters. Port of Seattle spokesperson Perry Cooper told the Seattle Times the airport is committed to welcoming people and commerce and that international visits are strictly an issue for federal authorities. The sheriffs challenging a new state law will have their two lawsuits brought together in Thurston County. That's the ruling this afternoon by a judge in Pend Oreille County in Northeast Washington. The law sets new eligibility requirements for sheriff candidates and spells out the process to remove a sheriff from office if they lose their professional certification. Judge Adam Walser declined the sheriff's request to put the law on hold. Instead, he transferred it to the same court where the Washington State Sheriff's Association filed a similar challenge.
We're talking about something that has the likelihood to put kind of a full stop to a primary piece of legislation. And I don't feel that having that ongoing in parallel proceedings at two courts is going to be ideal for the interests of justice.
Sheriffs say the law is an unconstitutional overreach that takes power away from their voters. They want a court to block the law before candidates filing week, May 4th. Supporters say other members of law enforcement already meet these standards. Washington Senators Patty Murray and Maria Cantwell say they and fellow Democrats will keep forcing votes to end the war in Iran. Senate Republicans blocked Democrats' latest attempt to rein in the president's war powers yesterday. Members of the U.S. House are expected to take up a similar measure soon. Washington Republicans Dan Newhouse and Michael Baumgartner have publicly supported the war. Today, Washington Representative Kim Schreier tried to find out if the feds have a plan for the coal-fired power plant they reopened. Washington State shut down the TransAlta coal-burning power plant in Centralia in December, but emergency orders from the Trump administration have required the plant to keep its doors open. Today, Schreier pressed Secretary of Energy Chris Wright on whether he's aware of the cost to ratepayers.
Now it's been sitting idle. It still costs money to keep it there and idle and keep the employees there. My constituents are paying the price, and it has contributed zero energy to the grid.
Grid data from the federal government shows the plant has not produced any energy from coal in the last 30 days. But the Trump administration claims a national shortage of electric energy requires the plant to stay open. KUOW's asked TransAlta about the number of employees working at the plant. We're waiting to hear back. The unemployment rate in Washington just rose again for the fourth straight month. 5.1% of the working population is without a job as of February, according to the state's Employment Security Department. It's up just slightly from 5% in January, but state economists say it could signal a possible shift in the labor force. They say we'll get a more complete picture next month. One picture that is clear: Snapchat's making cuts. The parent company of Snapchat has laid off 95 workers in Bellevue, Seattle, and Vancouver, Washington. It's part of a broader restructuring plan in which the company will lay off 1,000 employees. GeekWire reports the layoffs come 2 weeks after the company acquired assets from the Seattle gaming company Rec Room that's shutting down. A settlement has come for families who fought the state for custody of their kids. The families claim Dr. Elizabeth Woods gave false, incomplete, or unsupportable medical opinions about their children that led them to losing custody of them. But eventually, all the children were returned to their parents. Woods was the head of the Marybridge Children's Hospital Child Abuse Unit at the time, but left in 2021. She's reached a settlement with 11 families who sued. In some big money news today, philanthropist and Washington State resident Connie Ballmer has made the largest donation to NPR in the organization's history. NPR reports it's received two major gifts totaling $113 million, with the largest portion from Balmer. The money comes a year after Congress gutted all federal funding for public radio and television. Balmer, who's the wife of former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer, says she gave the gift in hopes to provide the stability and the spark NPR needs to innovate boldly and strengthen its national network. NPR says it'll use the gifts for innovation, digital technology, and connecting with audiences. The plea for light rail up and down the Puget Sound area continues. Snohomish County leaders say they are committed to making sure light rail reaches Everett. But that could mean other Sound Transit extensions get put on hold. KNKX Murrow News fellow Nate Sanford has more.
Sound Transit is facing a lot of tough choices. To fill a more than $34 billion budget shortfall, agency staff have floated pausing several planned light rail routes, including extensions to Ballard, West Seattle, or Everett. At a packed town hall, Everett Mayor Cassie Franklin told constituents that Everett needs to be prioritized.
It is the spine from Everett to Tacoma that is actually going to connect this region.
Snohomish County Executive Dave Summers is chair of the Sound Transit Board. He says he's planning to present a plan in coming months that would save the Everett connection, possibly deferring planned Seattle extensions.
We will keep those projects alive in the planning, but they will not be authorized for moving forward because we can't afford them right now.
Summers says the Seattle routes could still be finished with other funding sources, such as a levy. Residents in Ballard are planning a Save the Light Rail rally this weekend. Nate Sanford, reporting.
A couple other stories of note before we check out today. People hoping to get to the World Cup matches in Seattle this summer by fast ferry from Tacoma, they'll have to find another way. Pierce County economic development officials tell KUOW that a proposed plan for a new electric foot ferry has been delayed, and there is no set timeline for the project, but the program is moving ahead. And finally today, we're remembering Joel Connolly. The longtime Seattle political journalist has died at age 78, according to his family. Connolly was born and raised in Bellingham and joined the Seattle Post-Intelligencer in 1972. He covered environmental and energy policy, religion, politics, and later became a columnist. Connolly's family says they will share details about a celebration of life in the coming days. Next time on Seattle Now, it's Casual Friday. We'll talk about a grandmother's viral Facebook post asking people to join her at Mariners games. She says her husband doesn't want to make the trip from Olympia, and she needs some company.
It seemed like she was kind of hanging her husband out to dry.
A little bit.
Because, like,
They've been married a while.
It went kind of viral on Facebook, right? I would just be like, babe, what the heck, you know? Like, I'll come to a couple games. Like, the weather's just not that great right now.
Hear that and more Friday morning. That's all for today from the KUOW newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Andy Hurst. I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See you later.